It happened in the Flint Foreman case. It's been happening a lot. And so we're sick and tired of this. That's why we're down here today boycotting. We're saying no justice, no profits. No justice,
no profit.
No justice,
no profit.
No justice,
no profit.
I can't hear you. No justice,
no profit.
No profits. We're sick and tired of people waxing fat off of our misery. And we need to spread the pain. Our community is suffering from unemployment, bad health care services, housing, thousands of people homeless. We're suffering. And the only solution that the mayor can come up with is more police. More police. So we're tired of playing this game. In fact, we never played it. We're tired of them playing this game on us. So what we're saying to the mayor, the city council, and all responsible parties, that we want justice. What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
All right. So that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We want justice in these murder cases, in these police homicides. We also want justice for all of those innocent people who are languishing in jail, who were tortured by John Burge and other torturers, other police torturers, and put in prison for crimes that they did not commit. Did you know that most of these guys that were tortured, that they were children at the time that they were tortured? They were legally children. They were under the age of 17. So they kidnapped children, tortured them, and then gave them life sentences in jail. That's outrageous. So we want something done about that. And Governor Rauner can do something about it with the flick of a pen. All he has to do is give these people a pardon of innocence, and they're out of jail. Kim Foxx is doing something about it. She's exonerating people, but not fast enough and not enough of them. We have over 115 cases that we know of guys languishing in jail. She can't give all of them an exoneration at one time. The governor can, and the governor should. So that's also one of our demands. And finally, I just want to say that we have a piece of legislation pending in the City Council for an all-elected, all-civilian Police Accountability Council. CPAC. When I say fight back, you say CPAC. Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it.
Shut it down.
All right. So we're going to start this rally off. Excuse me. The person who will be chairing the program going forward is Jasmine Salas. Jasmine is the co-chair of the Stop Police Crimes Committee of the Chicago Alliance Against Racial and Political Repression. Let's give Jasmine a round of applause. Hey.
How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing today? All right, y'all, I'm glad y'all are here, awake. Thank you so much for being here. This is a very, very important event. Before we get started on our program, can we have the crowd move behind the press? When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC!
Fight back.
CPAC!
Fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC!
Fight back.
CPAC!
Fight back.
All right, everybody, make some noise. We are out here today to demand justice for the Quan and all of the unarmed black and brown kids that are murdered by the police and the system that just lets it happen and refuses to hold these killer cops accountable. That's why we want CPAC. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC. Fight back. CPAC. Fight back. Up first in our program, we're going to hear from some victims' families. I would like to first bring up Dorothy Holmes. Make some noise, everybody.
Good afternoon. My name is Dorothy Holmes, the mother of Ronald Johnson, who was killed October the 12th, 2014 by Detective George Hernandez. And on October the 31st, 2 investigators said false images helped clear cops in shooting, which was my son's case. And I'm out here today so that Kim Fox, the state's attorney, to let her know I got backup and I need her to reopen my son's case.
Come on.
Because evidence is out showing that he was unarmed when he was shot down, which he was shot in the back by Detective George Hernandez, which they lied and said he turned around and he pointed the gun at the officer, and they tried to hide the video, but I seen the video and it showed otherwise, that he was just running away. I didn't know if you run, you get gunned down, but it's a lot going on, so we all see that here in Chicago. And it has become a virus, and it has to stop. You can't keep killing our kids and then y'all walk around to my child serving and protecting. Who are you all serving and protecting when we have to go to the cemeteries for our kids on holidays?
Yeah.
You're not serving and protecting us, you're serving and protecting yourself.
That's right.
And it got to stop.
Come on.
My son left behind 5 kids that I have to help raise now because of police misconduct. You can't keep doing that and expecting for us to be okay with it.
That's right.
Rami Emanuel got so much blood on his hands, he need to be locked up.
Yes. Yes.
Let our people up out of there. Our people need to be here with us, not behind the bars. The ones that should be behind bars, they standing around looking at us right now.
That's right.
How you gonna open up a cop academy and you still got crooks out here that shouldn't be on the force, should have been gone a long time ago?
Come on.
And I know George Hernandez and his partner should have been gone long time ago, because I did my research on both of them. My son is not the only person that's been killed by them. It's also other people that's been murdered. First thing they try to do is buy us off, and that becomes a tax write-off for the city.
Come on.
Well, my son wasn't no tax write-off. You can't offer me nothing. I need 12 people to make that decision on what was right and what was wrong.
Come on.
And this case, it was wrong, and I'm not settling. You can't buy me off, Rami Emanuel.
Come on.
You can keep hiding, but you still gonna have to face me one day.
Yes. Yes.
And I've been calling you out since day one. And the only reason why he got reelected, because he kept Laquan McDonald video head. He kept Ronald Johnson video head. Because I promise y'all, if them videos would have surfaced around the election time, Rami Emanuel would have been gone. He wouldn't have got reelected. And all this police stop, frisk, and search, because you see a black man, white person, anybody walking down the street, they got to stop too.
That's right. That's right.
Traffic violation, they got to stop. Since my son murdered, I not been pulled over 20 times by the police. They even came to my house and shot my dog, killed my dog in front of my grandkids. And the first thing they say, we going to investigate. It's been 2 years now that they killed my dog. I ain't heard nothing from the city. My son been dead 3 years. Still know nothing from the city besides trying to pay somebody off. Keep y'all money because y'all gonna need it. And I'm gonna keep on fighting. I don't care how long it take. I don't care who they re-elect into that office. I'm gonna keep on fighting because my son's name will be cleared. I'm not going nowhere. I don't care how long it take. It might be the death of me, but if it do, I got some more people that's still gonna fight for Ronald Johnson. Just know that. 'Cause I ain't going nowhere. I won't be intimidated by the police when they pull me over for them bogus traffic stop. They can go to hell. Because the same way they talk to me when they pull me over, I talk back to them the same way. I'm not scared of y'all.
That's right.
And I won't be intimidated by y'all. Same thing State's Attorney Anita Alvarez said. I won't be intimidated by Mr. Johnson's mother. Hell, I wasn't intimidated by you either. Because I came right back at you with the same thing. You won't be reelected. Where she at? She out of there. And you all have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Give it up, everybody, one more time for Miss Dorothy Holmes. Hey, who's ready to march? That's coming up soon. But right now, if you don't have a CPAC sign, we have a ton back here on this bench. Get yourself a sign. Represent CPAC. Let everybody know what we're doing out here today. And also, I know I told y'all to get behind the cameras, but if y'all could just get back to where you were. Just come back over here. Yes, in front of the cameras. We're practicing our marching. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these dirty racist cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these dirty racist cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these dirty racist cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these dirty racist cops, we don't need them, need them. Woo! Make some noise. Up next, we have Mr. Eric Russell. Make some noise and welcome Eric to the stage.
My name is Eric Russell. I'm the president of the Tree of Life Justice League, Police Accountability, Social Justice Advocate. I'm the spokesperson for the Betty Jones family, the Jose Chio Nueves family, and a host of families that was murdered, tortured, and brutalized by Chicago police. Brothers and sisters, there is a hunt. There is a hunt. Those of us that have been kissed by the sun, we have targets on our back. We are targets on our back. The Chicago police and the police nationwide are killing our women and children. They kill us on the way to jail. Freddie Gray. They kill us in jail. Sandra Bland. They kill us when we are simply in need of roadside assistance like Quinter. They kill us when we simply open up our front doors like Betty Jones. What we demand that the police treat us with a certain amount of dignity and respect. What we ask for, it is simple. The police must uphold the law while they enforce the law. They are killing our women and children. The boogeyman, it is no longer a monster up under our children's bed. The boogeyman, they carry a badge and a gun. Jose Nueves, he was executed by killer cop based on a verbal altercation. A verbal altercation. How is it that a trained police officer who is trained to de-escalate situations, but when they patrol the black and brown community, they control the black and brown community like some damn Gestapo being judge, jury, and executioner. Jose Nueves, the police, when it comes to black people, they don't represent the first line of defense. They represent the first assault wave. Because they are killing us with impunity. Jose Nueves, he was executed. He was stalked. He was murdered before this officer murdered Jose Nueves, he called 911. He said, this cop is gonna kill me. And no one heard his cry. It is our responsibility, brothers and sisters. We must cry justice for our dead because they can no longer speak. There is a trap door to all of this. It can get worse. We must enact CPAC if we are going to have real reform, transparency, and accountability. Jose Nueves was murdered as a result of a verbal altercation. But if we don't hold the police accountable, one day they will say, I shot that nigga dead because he looked at me the wrong way.
Make some noise, everybody! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! And if we don't get it? Shut it down! 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 Woo! Make some noise! Up next, I want to welcome to the stage Miss Annabelle Perez. Give it up for Annabelle, everybody.
Hello, everybody. My name is Annabelle, as you heard, and my son is Jamie Hawad. You might have seen his picture in the news because my son was tortured along with a whole bunch of other guys. There's 400 and something guys in the torture committee that are still waiting for their cases to be heard. They just passed my son's case when Anita Alvarez tried to stop it twice. But my son was wrongfully convicted, tortured by the Chicago police, and is still sitting there waiting for them to hear his case. There's mothers that have heard their cases already. But you know what? They're still sitting in court because they still need to investigate more. The torture committee investigated these cases. Why do we need more investigations? We need people to set these guys free. My son, this is my son. When he went to prison, you see this little boy? This is my son. A little boy that went to prison and now he's a man. But you know what? The system tried to corrupt him and they couldn't mess him up. My son is a man of dignity and respect. They did not take that from my son. As much as I sit here and I fight for my son, but you know what? My son is grateful to God for giving him the spirit and the courage to continue to fight, and for all the people out of here that have represented for him. I ask you to put CPAC on. CPAC is someone who is going to stand by the people and make sure that if the police officers are wrong, they have to charge them with something. But if they're not, hey, but they will investigate their cases. We need CPAC on for everybody, for justice for everybody. We need everybody that hears, has heard of it, to start joining us and following us on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere, just to make sure that it gets on. I thank you, and I ask for Kim Fox to please don't make my son sit there much longer. He's been there for too long. 20 years in prison for something he did not do, and he was tortured. I don't think it's right if they have all the evidence. Why do you need more investigation if you have more evidence of innocence than what you have of guilty? There's nothing there saying my son is guilty. Why not release him? I demand justice for my son and all the other guys. How many kids have we seen come home already? How many kids have we seen come home? How many more? You know what? This didn't just start. It's been here. It's just that some people have taken a stand. But we need all people, because you know what? I have grandkids, and I don't want my grandkids to go through what my son went through. And I don't want nobody else's. It shouldn't happen. We should make it better for the future of our kids. Thank you.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC! Fight back! CPAC! Fight back! When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC! Fight back! CPAC! Fight back! All right, up next, I want to bring to the stage Miss Bertha Escamilla. Give it up for Bertha, everybody.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Bertha.
My name is Bertha Escamilla. My family and I were victims back in 1993 when my son was tortured, beat up, threatened, you name it. It was by detectives Boudreaux, Kenneth Boudreaux, John Halloran, James O'Brien. These police officers have so many cases that they have with torture. It's all a pattern. And in every case that you have, they're all with Boudreaux and Halloran and O'Brien. These two victims that were just let go, Gerald Fulton, Nieves Coleman, they had the same police officers. And with all the time that they spent in prison, they wanted to still have them stay in jail till they played around getting more DNA. More DNA. This is what keeps on happening with every victim that gets into the court. There's no evidence, but they want to keep you. Spending thousands and thousands of dollars. They don't care if you're innocent. Why should they? It's not them.
Right.
It's costing taxpayers thousands and thousands of dollars. This is terrible. Everyone should be very outraged about this because it's all tax money, tax money. We all have to pay for this. Why is it that we have to always go in for more evidence? Why? When you are innocent, they should just let you go. I don't know if any of you have read today's Chicago Tribune. There's an article there where Judge Gottschall is finding our mayor $62,506 for not bringing in police records.
Right.
Now, who is going to have to pay for this? Aren't you people tired of this?
Yes.
I don't know about you, but I certainly am.
That's right.
We are out here because we want all the innocent people that have been tortured, and they all know who they are. Why must you keep on digging for evidence when all these victims, and I say victims, stay in jail? They should just be let go. Patterns of these police officers should be enough.
Come on.
They have the same complaints that every case has. What more would you need? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Make some noise for Bertha. All right, I want to lead a chant before I introduce the next speaker. It's a call and response. So when I lead the call, you all respond with, I got your back. Does that sound good?
Yes.
The odds are stacked just cause I'm black. You got my back?
I got your back.
Watch my back. I'm under attack. You got my back?
I got your back.
You got my back?
I got your back.
You got my back?
I got your back.
All right, make some noise, y'all. Up next, I want to welcome to the stage Mr. William Calloway.
If we don't get it, 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 shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Make some noise for Laquan real quick. Make some noise. Hey man, my name is William Calloway, community activist from the south side of Chicago. And the biggest opponent of Rahm Emanuel in the city. You hear me? Make some noise for that, Joe. Listen, It's imperative that we know on this November day 2 years ago, we shut down the mag mail for Laquan McDonald. We want justice for Laquan. We want justice for Ronnie Man. We want justice for Rekia Boy. We ain't forget. We want justice for Michael Wesley. We want justice for Dakota Bright. We want justice for all the names and every life that was taken by Chicago Police Department by excessive force. Make some noise for that right now. And if we don't get it, hey man, we have to organize. It's imperative that we organize today. We got 16 months, y'all, until Rahm Emanuel is up for re-election. Say 16 months. 16 months. 16 months. 16 months. Each month we need to organize effectively. We need to organize in your community. Make sure you put pressure on your local alderman. Make sure you get involved in these midterm elections. Find out who your state rep is right now. We got legislation in Springfield that's not moving because of these legislators. It's called Laquan Law. Say Laquan Law. Laquan Law. That will give us the power. It's recall legislation will give us the power to recall the mayor, the Cook County State's attorney, and all these crooked aldermen. Make some noise for that. We have to make sure we put pressure on Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel is not a friend to our city. He is not a friend to black and brown communities. He is not a friend to us that's on the grassroots level. All he cares about is Michigan Avenue and anything north of Roosevelt. And that has to be understood. We have to make sure we go inside our communities. Activate your base. Activate your family. Activate everybody that you know. We have to get involved. We can't wait no more. We don't have a candidate for mayor. That has to stop right now. We have to find people to run in this next election. If you don't like what's going on, you get involved. You get a clipboard. You organize your block. You organize your community. It's time for us to take our city back. Say, take our city back. Take our city back. It's without a doubt that Rahm Emanuel knew. He knew about that tape. He covered that tape up intentionally for re-election purposes. If anybody else tells you different, if anybody else says differently, they're naive. Gary McCarthy said that Rahm Emanuel knew about that tape. The former superintendent of Chicago Police Department has said on record that Rahm Emanuel knew about that tape. And we got the special prosecutor, Patricia Brown Holmes, who refused to indict the other officers that lied and falsified that report. And man, she failed us. It wasn't just 3 officers, it was 9. It was 9 officers. This corruption runs deep. It runs deep to higher officers, to higher rank and file. We have to make sure that the other officers are held accountable. Say held accountable. We're going to make sure that we hold these officers accountable. We're going to make sure that we get involved. We're going to make sure that we take our city back. We're going to make sure, hey man, we need to understand CPD is not fixed. CPD is not fixed. It's not fixed until we say it's fixed. It's not fixed because we got a black state's attorney. It's not fixed because we got a black superintendent. It's not fixed because we got more black officers around that don't really care about us neither, just like these racist white police officers. It's not fixed until we say it's fixed. And so we gonna fix it. So we gonna fix it. We gonna fix it. And we gonna get justice for Laquan. And we demand a speedy, we demand a trial immediately. We want Judge Gone to make sure we get a trial. It'll be 4 years next year, man. It'll be 4 years since Laquan been shot, man. And we still haven't got any type of justice for Laquan McDonald. Jason Van Dyke goes to his house every month. I go to court and watch this man go home every month. Every month he leaves that courthouse smiling and smirking after he done took the life of an unarmed young man. And that grieves my spirit and it grieves my soul. And I'm not going to stop till we get justice. And we not going to stop till we get justice. Say 16 shots. 16 shots. 16 shots. I say to y'all, love y'all, man.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back CPAC. CPAC. When I say CPAC, you say fight back CPAC. CPAC. Up next, I have the honor of welcoming Alderman Carlos Rosa to the stage, the sponsor of the CPAC legislation that's currently in the City Council. Give it up, everybody.
Thank you. How y'all doing? Good morning, sisters and brothers. Good morning, beloved community. It is so beautiful to be here with you today Because what I see before me is the city of Chicago. Black, brown, white, the youth, our elders, people from every walk of this city, coming together to demand community control of the police and justice for Laquan McDonald. It is ridiculous that the city of Chicago can find $95 million to build a new swimming pool and shooting range for cops, but we cannot implement what we know will truly bring oversight and accountability to the Chicago police. Over the last 10 years, police misconduct has cost the city of Chicago $660 million. But the lives that have been lost, whether it's Laquan McDonald or Rekia Boyd, the violence that has been inflicted in our community cannot be quantified by any dollar. I'm here today because over 1 year ago, I and 7 other co-sponsors introduced the Civilian Police Accountability Council ordinance. An ordinance that was brought about by those that were directly impacted by police violence. An ordinance that is informed by research and the experience that tells us that the only way that we can truly bring an end to police misconduct, that the only way that we can ensure that there are no more Laquan McDonalds or Rekia Boyds that lose their lives in the city of Chicago, that the only way that we can ensure that the city of Chicago does not lose another $660 million in the next 10 years is by bringing democratic community control over the police. Now that ordinance has languished in committee for over a year in public safety. And when I go to City Hall and I log on to the Wi-Fi there, and I try to go to the website about CPAC, guess what? The website's blocked. You cannot access information about CPAC in Chicago City Hall. So my question to you is, why is our mayor, why are so many of my colleagues afraid of democracy?
Come on, come on.
If you are honest, if you are committed to ensuring that we have a government that is truly of, by, and for the people, if you are committed to ensuring that we have a police that are truly serving and protecting the people, then you have nothing to fear when it comes to community control of the police. So we are here today, but this is not the last time we will be together. Because as we move forward in the next 16 months, there's a legislative tactic that we can use in the Chicago City Council, and that's called Rule 41. And I fully intend to join with the other co-sponsors of this ordinance to force a floor vote in the Chicago City Council sometime soon to make sure that the people of the city of Chicago know where their aldermen stand. Do you stand with the murderer of Laquan McDonald? Or do you stand with the people that are fighting to make sure that we don't lose another young black life to police violence? Do you stand with those that are saying invest hundreds of millions of dollars in providing health services to our community, in providing mental health clinics, and addressing the root causes of crime and violence? Or do you stand with those that want to give a new swimming pool to cops? Sisters and brothers, who do you stand with? People. You stand with the people. Who do you stand with? People. We're going to get this done. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. Justice for Laquan McDonald, CPAC now.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC.
Fight back.
CPAC.
Fight back.
All right, up next, I want to invite up one of the organizers from the No Cop Academy campaign. Is Debbie here in the crowd today?
Come on up, sister. Come on up. Jessica.
Jessica?
Come on up, Jessica.
Maria from Black Lives Matter? Okay, Maria from Black Lives Matter. You want to come up to the stage, Maria? Make some noise, everybody. So, I'm Maria Hernandez from Black Lives Matter.
I'm so happy to see us out here again. On the most American of holidays, where we shop to put more money in the pockets of the multinational corporations that are devastating communities here and around the world, that are taking over the government, hollowing out our government and replacing it with public-private partnerships and private corporations that want to destroy everything we need to survive. I'm glad that Chicago still knows we got to come out and hit them in their pockets every year. And it's especially powerful this year as we continue to have to fight for justice for Laquan McDonald. Jason Van Dyke will be held accountable. Everyone will be held accountable. We will continue to come out as we continue to have to fight for justice for Ronnie Man Johnson. We need to reopen the investigation. This man was running from the police. The video was adopted. All the facts are out there. His family has been under so much, and they continue to fight. Some of the most powerful people in Chicago are the people who are survivors and are pushing for justice for all of us. And in the year when they decided to spend $95 million on a police academy. So I'm glad somebody brought up No Cop Academy, because we need to talk about this. I live on the west side.
Tell it.
There's a lot of things we could do with $95 million in a few acres. I'm still waiting on my 40 acres and a mule.
We're still waiting.
I'm tired of waiting. We need to take. Happy Thanksgiving. A holiday to honor. We just finished a holiday to honor when the colonial empires came to this continent to take from us. And yet, it continues to be one of the few days when workers can get off to be with their families. It's not a day that is for them. We need to take it back from the colony, from the corporations around us who are part of neo-colonialism today. We need to take it all back. And it starts with this. I want to thank everyone else who has spoken here today. Come out, support these organizations, not just on the big days like Black Friday, but every time we're going to these meetings, these committee meetings that they don't even want to say when it's happening until right beforehand. We need to make sure that we are ready to mobilize, because they're ready and they're moving and they're circling on us. When they talk about putting a cop academy on the west side of Chicago, they're not just talking about, well, first of all, they're definitely not talking about jobs. Only 15% are for people on the whole west side. Forget the neighborhood. They're not just talking about putting more police. They're not just talking about training more police in the corrupt tactics of Chicago Police Department, which, by the way, John Birch torture victims are still in jail. Kim Foxx needs to move on this. We need to free every victim of torture who is still in jail. This is a human rights abomination. But what we are facing is a larger problem than this year or this city. What we're facing is the militarization of the police, the transfer of military and paramilitary equipment and training down to the local level, militarizing our communities, occupying our communities like we are at war. I am tired of being at war. I want my family to have schools. I want my family to have hospitals. I want your family to have hospitals. I don't want police getting trained in Chicago in a so-called sanctuary city where the police use a gang database that is nothing other than racial profiling of Latinx immigrants. And these people do not need to be spreading their tactics anywhere. A lot of the officers teaching in the academies already existing in Chicago need to lose their jobs. That's right. We need to divest and invest. Take that money back, put it in our communities, in our food, our energy, get our schools, our job trainings program, our drug program, our anti-violence programs led by the community, because no one is going to solve the violence, the drugs, the crime, the mental illness in our community except us. That's why we need CPAC. CPAC now. CPAC now. Civilian accountability now over everything, over the budget, over the police, over the education, over our city. Thank you, Chicago. We gonna win. When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC. CPAC. When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC. CPAC. Up next, I want
to invite up Danya from the United States Palestinian Community Network. Free, free Palestine!
Thank you. If you're here to resist police crimes, make some noise! All right, my name is Danya Zaytouni, and I'm with the U.S. Palestinian Community Network, شبكة الجالية الفلسطينية في الولايات المتحدة. We are here representing the Palestinian and Arab community of Chicago to demand justice for Laquan McDonald and all victims of police crimes, and to support the Chicago Alliance's campaign for community control of the police. It bears repeating that we know it was only after the massive protests that shut down the Magnificent Mile, costing the biggest companies in Chicago 50% of their sales, that Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke was charged with first-degree murder of a 17-year-old black child, Laquan McDonald. By continuing this historic boycott, we are sending a clear message to Mayor 1% that there is a price to pay for the crimes against the Latino and black community. And that we will continue to boycott until Van Dyke is convicted, until CPAC is passed, and until all 118 wrongfully imprisoned police torture survivors are freed. The struggle of the black and Latino community against police crimes, including killings, torture, wrongful imprisonment, and outright police occupation of their communities, is an inspiration to all oppressed people around the world who are fighting for liberation from U.S. imperialism, including our Arab and Palestinian community. The U.S. government and the police arm, train, and fund billions of dollars in military aid to the colonial occupier state of Israel, who stole our land, terrorize our people into submission, and exploit our resources. The truth is, the only thing the U.S. government has ever liberated Arabs from is our vast oil reserves. And the only thing that the police have ever protected the black and Latino community from is any chance at real social and economic equality. What we must do is we must make the racist occupation of our communities unsustainable by raising the cost of these occupations. That is why we must boycott the Magnificent Mile. That is why we must boycott the racist state of Israel, and why we must continue to organize our communities for national liberation and self-determination by any means necessary. From Chicago to Palestine, occupation is a crime. 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 Thank you.
No justice, no peace, no racist police. 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 Up next, I want to bring up Adrian from Anak Bayan. Make some noise for Adrian, everybody!
No justice! No racist! No justice! No racist! Good morning, everyone! How are we doing? My name is Adrian Bonifacio. I'm the national chairperson of Anak Bayan USA. We are a Filipino grassroots youth organization fighting for the national liberation of the Filipino community. And we know that the same powers, the same state repression, the same fascist repression that is murdering black and brown people here in Chicago are the same ones behind supporting the fascist state in the Philippines. We are here to demand justice for Laquan McDonald, justice for Rakia Boyd, justice for all victims of police terror here in Chicago. Because we know that the Filipino community is not free until we are all free. That the Filipino community is not free until black folks are free, until Latino folks are free, until all victims of state repression are free. Laquan McDonald was only 17 years old when he was executed by Chicago PD. That's right. In the Philippines, the same shit is happening. The police there have been waging a so-called drug war on the poor. The president and the police in the Philippines have already killed 14,000 people. And this is in only a year. 14,000 deaths in a year. This summer, a 17-year-old, same age as Laquan McDonald, was murdered in the streets. His name was Kian de los Santos. The police framed him. They gave him a gun. They told him to fire it. They told him to run away. And when he refused, they shot him. It was caught on video, and the killings continue to happen. The killings continue to happen because we know that police brutality, that the police, it's a culture and it's a system to protect the ruling elite, to protect the fascist state. And it will not end until we organize our communities. It will not end until we mobilize in the streets, in the thousands, in the tens of thousands, in the millions, to demand justice for our communities. To demand that imperialism, which is militarizing our communities here at home, here in Chicago, and abroad, that millions of our dollars, our taxpayer dollars, are funding this police, that $95 million cop academy, that's our money. The hundreds of millions of dollars going to the Philippines, to Israel, the billions that are going to Israel are funding state terror there too. And until we can take a stand against fascism, against imperialism, against militarism, the state will continue to oppress us, to exploit us, and that's why we must organize. We must build a mass movement, because only through a mass movement can we enact CPAC, can we stop the killings of our youth, stop the killings of our community. So when I say U.S. imperialists, y'all say #1 terrorist. U.S. imperialists, #1 terrorist. U.S. imperialists, #1 terrorist. U.S. imperialists, #1 terrorist. CPAC, CPAC, CPAC. Thank you all.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. All right, up next, I want to invite Joe Ashe Baker from the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Give it up for Joe, everybody.
Thank you, my sister. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC! 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 Freedom Road Socialist Organization has been involved in this struggle for a number of years. And I'm here today, along with my comrade, Frank Chapman, the leader of the Chicago Alliance. We're here to make certain that this system does not allow that killer cop, Jason Van Dyke, to walk free. You know that's what they want to do. You know that's what they want to do because they have never convicted a cop in the city of Chicago for first-degree murder of a black person. Never! Not one! Not in a century! And they don't want to convict this guy either. But we're here to say, indict. convict, send that killer cop to jail. The whole damn system. I said indict, convict, send that killer cop to jail. The whole damn system. We are also here because despite the fact that the state of Illinois is the only state in the country that has a torture commission. This is the torture capital of America. This is the wrongful conviction capital of America. They've admitted, the politicians have admitted that there are hundreds of men in prison who were there based on tortured confessions, but they will not let them free. We're here to say, free them all. 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 The brother before me was talking about the kind of movement that we need. I think we can look to Chicago history to understand the kind of movement that we need. Chicago, by looking at our enemy, let us remember that the mayor of Chicago in 1969 conspired with the FBI and the Chicago police and the state's attorney to assassinate in cold blood the leaders of the Black Panther Party. Say their names: Fred Hampton, Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Mark Clark. What were the Panthers fighting for? They were fighting for black liberation. But Fred Hampton was also very clear. They were fighting for socialism as well. Because they saw, they knew that all of the oppressed people, Black nation, Chicano nation, the Puerto Rican people, had the same enemy as the poor whites. The majority of the white working class in this country is suffering under the same white capitalist class that rules over the oppressed people. We have the same enemy. And we know that there's only one way to get justice. This is a slogan that's been taught to us by the Black Lives Matter movement. What do we want? Justice. And if we don't get it, shut it down. We have to have this same attitude towards the whole damn system. What do we want? Justice. And if we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Thank you, my brothers and sisters.
All right, y'all, who's ready to march? We got one more speaker that we're gonna march. Are you ready? When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC! CPAC! When I say CPAC, you say fight back, CPAC! CPAC! All right, our last speaker is gonna be Savannah from the Workers' World Party.
All right.
I'm looking for this person. Thank you. I'm so happy we're all here together today. Thank you for being here. So we know that the Chicago Police Department answers to the powers of the state. Yep. They serve and protect for the propertied classes, for the political leaders. But for most Chicagoans, the CPD is a violent, racist, heavily armed and empowered force that does not stand for justice. The CPD is a threat to peace, and more notably, the CPD is a threat to our safety. CPD is not a unique police force in the U.S. They're in good company with the other pig units that walk armed on our streets. We cannot forget that police units all over the U.S. kill an average of 1,000 people every year. We know that the majority of the victims of police violence are Black and brown, queer, trans, poor. The police targets our friends who are the most vulnerable because the police do not think that they have to answer to us. We remember when Chicago police officers shot and killed Fred Hampton in his sleep. More recently, we saw the criminal justice system take a stance against the people when Chicago officers did everything they could to keep Chicagoans from knowing the truth about Laquan McDonald.
Rest in peace, Laquan.
We see it now after our so-called Justice Department has exonerated the higher-ups who knowingly covered up the murder. No officer in the U.S. has ever been convicted of first-degree murder, and we know that that's not justice. We see police around us here today. Are they here to protect us? No! Do we think that they're concerned that we're going to inflict harm on the shoppers on Michigan Avenue?
Yes.
Officers are here today to protect the retail profits that make Chicago so welcoming to Rahm Emanuel's business partners and cronies. Super profits do not make Chicago a safer place to live. And neither will an Amazon headquarters, and neither will a $95 million police academy. We are here today, as the Chicago Alliance has been for years, demanding a civilian police accountability council, demanding that the police units answer to the people. If you read the corporate media that presents itself as a free and unbiased press, you would believe that violence stems from within Black and brown working class communities. You would believe that the biggest threat to peace in Chicago is our Black and brown youth. We know that this is not true. Why are our politicians and journalists talking about gang violence when the biggest and most brutal gang is wearing blue? We need CPAC and we need systemic changes in our justice system if there is to be any peace in our communities. We need to be able to hold the police accountable. We deserve an economic and political system that does not divide us by race and by class. Capitalism can never bring us justice because capitalism and racism are inseparable. Jason Van Dyke should be in prison. Laquan McDonald should be home with his family. I believe that we will win. 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 Thank you. Thank you. I believe that we will win. 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 All right, so I know I said that was the last speaker. Totally my bad. We have one more speaker here from the Progressive Labor Party. Make some noise, everybody.
Yo, how y'all doing, Chicago? All right. Good. So I'm a member of the Progressive Labor Party, but also a member of Black Lives Matter in Gary, Indiana. Give it up. So I want to first salute to those engaged in the struggle against racist repression here in Chicago. There's a struggle against, and just a big up to the folks struggling against it everywhere in this world. Just across the lake, we're engaged in a similar struggle for working class folks to try to get and obtain community control over the police. And we modeled ours after CPAC, so give it up for y'all. Give it up. But it's also important for us to understand that there's a global crackdown on the international working class, which is always and fully carried out by the police everywhere. We are living in a time of many contradictions and limits. Imperialist rivalry, war, travel bans, construction of walls, and police terrorizing communities. But there's also rebellion. Workers internationally are under attack by imperialists, but they are also fighting back. Workers in Kinshasa, Congo. Workers in Oaxaca, Mexico last year. Workers in Kenya and St. Louis this year. Workers in Chicago and Gary across the lake fighting back against police terror. Y'all give it up for that. Though fighting for reforms are essential to our existence, they have to be towards working for something bigger. Reforming capitalism will not save us, only overthrowing it will. As the state becomes more and more repressive, building walls, increasing deportations, passing Blue Lives Matter bills instead of CPAC, we are left with two options. We can either accept defeat and surrender ourselves to the murderous future that capitalism has in store for us, or we can organize the working class to smash the system once and for all. Those are the only two futures we have. Escapism will not cure our alienation. Scrambling to wait out capitalism will not will not help our situation. Or compromising with capitalism will not help our situation. Crossing our fingers and hoping that capitalism will collapse on its own will not get the job done. Only overthrowing this system and building a racist, sexist, and exploitation-free society will. We must build that world we desire. Workers can. 100 years ago we saw workers take state power, and we see that we can do it again. We have a model that we can look by. So fight for CPAC and the Progressive Labor Party. We believe that communism is a future that we need, but for right now we have to fight for the reforms we can get so we can build for that future that we so desire. So when we say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, CPAC, CPAC. All right.
right, that's my sister. I want to welcome back to the stage Frank Chapman. He's gonna lay out what the march will look like.
All right. I want to thank all you winter soldiers for coming out. You know what a winter soldier is, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the opposite of a sunshine patriot.
Winter soldier.
Okay, we want to thank all you winter soldiers for coming out and joining us today. It's really beautiful. It's only a few hundred of us, but we're going to make our presence felt, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so right on. So now what I want you to do, I'm going to introduce Jeff Baker, who's the head of our security. He's going to be commanding this march, okay? We want to be disciplined. So in order to be disciplined, we got to have somebody in charge, and you got to follow. All right? I want you to say right on. Right on. Right on. All right, come on, Jeff.
All right.
I'm in a much less rallying mood. I'm in a sober mood. We are surrounded by folks that support and endorse a cold-blooded murderer. There are almost more police out here than there are us. There are almost more police out here than there are of us to protect what? To protect profits. Profits. This many police don't come out when people get gunned down in the street. Look at the police officers here to protect the profits. That's why we are here. Because these dollars, these stores that we give our millions upon millions and billions of dollars to mean more to this government than we do. They said, oh shit, they're going down there to stop some profits. Get your entire police force out, pay them overtime, we don't give a damn. Profits. So I'm in a somber mood because these police officers, they not as pissed off as I am that a child was shot 16 times. A child was shot 16 times, 14 times while he was on the ground. And these police officers are not as upset as I am. They're not consoling me. They're not telling you we understand. They're not saying we're gonna make sure we get motherfuckers like that out of this system. They're not saying that. How is that possible? There was a report December 20, I think it was Friday, December the 24th, it came out. They put it in the news Friday, December the 24th, because they know that nobody was gonna see it. But it was a report that said that the top brass of the police force all saw the Laquan McDonald video days after it happened, and they all agreed he did nothing wrong.
All guilty.
Let me say that again. All of the head brass looked at that video and said, including Eddie Johnson, our current superintendent, and said, there's nothing to see here. He was justified in shooting that child 16 times. That is why we need CPAC. That is why we need a civilian police accountability council, because these police officers don't see the same thing that we see. These police officers don't come from the same place we come from. These police officers don't fear the same things that we fear and experience the same things that we experience. So without us at the table, they will always look at the murder of one of us and say, there's nothing to see here, it's justified. So until we have a seat at the table, as a matter of fact, until we set the table, we will continue to get what we have always gotten. Now here's the problem. I'm also somber because there are not more of us out here. But this government, this is nothing new to them. They have lulled us to sleep for centuries. Their media propaganda system is superb. One of the best in the world. It's superb. But we are out here to kick people in their ass and to educate their minds. Over here we have boxes. Where are my marshals? I need my marshals to come to the front, to my right, and to the front to my left. We are out here to make sure that you are safe. We are out here to make sure that you are protected from these folks that would watch an officer shoot a child 16 times. So these marshals are here to make sure that you're safe. But for us to do that, you have to follow our directions. We have thought this through. We have worked this out. This is nothing new to us. We are going to make sure that nobody gets hurt by these folks that may be looking to provoke you, that may be looking to talk loudly and spit in your face. We are going to make sure that you are protected. Follow our lead, please. All right? We are going to educate the masses. We have educational materials over here. We are going to make sure that everybody that walks by us gets one of these. We have a free calendar that we give it out. It's called CPAC 2018 Justice Calendar. Our Justice Calendar is going to break down what you need to do every month to make sure that we see justice. This is our countdown to justice. Make sure that everybody walking down this street has one. Tell them Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, fight for justice. And here's how you can do it. All right? Are y'all with me? Yeah. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, CPAC, CPAC. We're going to give you 6 marshals up front here, and we're going to start our march. We're going to head north. I want you guys to follow our 6 marshals that are going to be in the front. Jeff, Yahama. Can I get you 2 up front? Do either one of you have you need a bullhorn? One of you need a bullhorn. Get a bullhorn to the front. We are going to start off following them. The rest of my marshals come back over here towards me. Jeff, you know the route. Start moving towards the front, and we would like, if the crowd can start filling in behind them, we're going to end up in 2 groups, all right? When I say all right, say all right. Just let me know that y'all hear me. Jeff, our 5 in the front, start moving forward. Hold your signs up side by side. Start moving forward, side by side.
Fight back!
Thanks for joining me here today in Chicago. Glad I could be here. So this is an annual thing protesters have done for the last 3 years since Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times, unarmed in the street, until after Mayor Rahm Emanuel's election. Lots of police out. Signal there for a sec.
No justice! No
So again, for new viewers, if you're wondering what the 16 shots and a cover-up chant is about, it's about Laquan McDonald in 2014. Shot in the back, 16 total shots. 9 officers were found to have covered up video evidence. They actually went into a local fast food restaurant and were caught on camera trying to delete the tape. They finally, after releasing the video, post a Rahm Emanuel election to try to hide it. They did file charges against the officer who shot him, Jason Van Dyke, but of course nothing happened. And the other 9 officers who covered up the information, nothing is happening to them, no charges, nothing.
16 shots and a cover up! 16 shots and a cover up! 16 shots and a cover up! 16 shots and a cover up!
So we're from a water tower place now on Michigan Avenue.
16 shots and a cover up! 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 16 shots and a shots in the cover-up. 16 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 shots in the cover-up. I gotta know it. How do you spell racist? CPD. How do you spell racist? CPD. How do you spell racist? CPD. We would be talking about racist CPD. How do you spell racist CPD? How do you spell racist CPD? Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. How do you spell racist CPD? Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Bringing in even more by cops now.
Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system
so people can get by you.
Move on the side.
So people can get by you.
Can you see? I can't really. I'm getting this angle.
So people, I don't care about your angle. Move in so people can get by you.
There's
over there.
I don't understand why you're picking on me.
Listen,
about it.
I ain't gonna tell you again. Move in so people can get by you.
So move
people
off the
can get by
sidewalk.
you.
You're fucking saying. Jesus Christ, man. So you're just gonna put your back in my live camera
So people can get by you. I asked you nice 4 times.
because I'm shooting.
You child? You understand English?
You're a fucking child, dude. This is why people fucking hate you. You wonder why they're out protesting, man.
Just ask them to let people get by.
Oh, very nice. Very professional, you fucking piece of shit. This guy just got right in front of me and then backed up for... I'm on the fucking sidewalk. They're just trying to be dicks for no fucking reason. The Chicago police force I remember from 3 years ago. Excuse me, man.
power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people. Because I'm black, you got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. Now I understand because I'm black. You got my back. I got your back. 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 Who do you serve? Who do you protect? 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 Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. I understand because I'm black. You got my back. I got your back. I understand because I'm black. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. I believe that we will win. 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 killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. Fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back.
Fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. Woo! Let's say everybody. If we don't get it, shut it down. 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 Let's talk. We don't need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. We don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. We don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. We don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. We don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. We don't need them, need them. All right, Chicago, make some noise! When our communities are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! I can't hear you. When our communities are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When our black communities are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When our schools are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When our communities are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! 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 If we don't get it, shut it down! 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 All right, let's remind everyone. Who shut shit down? We shut shit down. 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 No justice, no profits. 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 No justice, no profits.
Well, come on through. Come on through. Come on through. Come on through.
CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. CPD, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide.
Fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back.
CPAC, fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back.
When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back.
CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back.
Fight back. Fight back. Fight back.
Fight back.
Fight back. CPAC.
Fight back.
16 shots on the cover up.
16 shots in the cover up.
16 shots on the cover up.
16 shots in the cover up.
16 shots on the cover up.
16 shots in the cover up.
16 shots on the cover up.
16 shots in the cover up. 16 shots in the cover up. We want freedom, freedom. Racist and cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them.
Stop police crime.
We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. Back up. We don't need them, need them.
So hundreds of protesters out in front of Water Tower Place right now.
Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass cops. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them. Back up. We want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass. Back up. We want
Protesters here in Chicago asking for a civilian oversight board that's elected and actually accountable.
All these racist ass cops, we don't need them, need them. How many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these racist cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these racist cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey, these killer cops have got to go, hey, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, ho ho, these killer cops have got to go, hey. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back. Fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC. Fight back. CPAC. Fight back. CPAC. Fight back. CPAC. Fight back. will win. I believe that we 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 will win. I got your back. 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 You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. Yeah, that's about I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. I got your back. First question. I got your back. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
We got an army protecting Macy's. Tons and tons of bike officers here and other officers. My goodness. You see all the police vehicles in the street here. Hundreds of officers here for a peaceful protest, but they got to protect those profits of these stores. So the tens of thousands spent to protect profits of the stores.
Fight back!
New viewers, thanks for joining me here in Chicago, Illinois, my hometown. Good to be back for a couple days. So this is a Black Friday protest that's been happening for the last 3 years, ever since Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times unarmed. The police claimed he had a knife, and then they tried to cover up the video by going in a fast food restaurant, I think a Burger King, and trying to delete the video. They got caught on video trying to delete video. 9 officers involved in that cover-up, no punishment whatsoever. Even the mayor, we know, was aware of the tape. McCarthy, the old superintendent of the police, admitted on record that the mayor was aware of the tape, and it was kept hidden until after the election, and Rahm Emanuel, of course, got reelected.
CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, fight back. CPAC, fight back. When I say CPAC, you say fight back.
And of course, the officers who tried to cover up the tape, no disciplinary charges that just came out whatsoever for any of those officers for any wrongdoing. Apparently, it's okay for officers to hide evidence, as we see in Baltimore, plant evidence. It seems to be a regular thing that they even get away with once caught red-handed. So we can only imagine how much just happens when we don't have documented proof that they do it. If they feel comfortable enough, 9 officers felt comfortable enough trying to delete tape. That couldn't have been the first time. I mean, that they feel comfortable to do that. That must be a thing that they've seen other officers do or have done themselves. Part of the culture of policing. They make up their own rules as they go along. There's no accountability, and that's why protesters in Chicago are asking for a CPAC, a civilian-led police accountability commission. Because right now when things like that happen with those 9 officers, it's other officers who decide whether or not they did something. It's the state investigating the state. And people here and even in other cities across the country believe that citizens, there should be an elected citizens that have the power to hold police accountable, that they get to review these types of instances and help determine what, if anything, should be done, and not leave it to the state to investigate itself. Because every time it's either going to come up that they did nothing wrong, or if it's overwhelming, they're going to roll one person under the bus while other people get off. And we can't allow that to happen anymore. And that's one of the main reasons why protesters are out here on Black Friday in Chicago. They've been out here the last 3 years. Trying to limit profits and make police use spend thousands of dollars to protect profits, as we see them doing today. This is a ridiculous turnout of police for this particular protest. I mean, as far as number of officers, I mean, this is reminiscent of Kettle Corner in St. Louis, when they sent in pretty much a whole police department to arrest 100 people. They had all the bike officers, all the foot patrol, and the cars in the middle of the streets, just like you see here. It's very similar. Of course, I don't think anything's going to happen here today. They're trying to block people in and corral the protesters.
So we can have footage of what is actually happening, recorded with your cell phone. 16 shots in the cover-up. What? We heading south. Let's head south, guys. What? We heading south. What? 16 shots in the cover-up. 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 16 shots in the cover-up. What? 16 shots in the cover-up. 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 The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Indict, convict, send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. How many kids did he kill today? CPD, KKK. How many kids did he kill today? Chicago! 16 shots in the cover-up! 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 Okay. Thank you. Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! Show me what Chicago looks like! This is what Chicago looks like! CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? KKK, how many kids have you killed today? KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today?
protesters literally flanked on both sides by rows of police.
Killed today. CPD, KKK. How many kids is killed today? CPD. No registry. Fuck white supremacy. No laws. No registry. Fuck white supremacy. No laws. No registry. No white supremacy. No laws. No registry. No white supremacy. No laws. No registry, no white supremacy, no laws, no registry, no white supremacy, no laws, no registry, no white supremacy, no laws. Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! Fight back! You can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. Racist cops, how many kids did you kill today? CPD, KKK, how many kids did you kill today? CPD, KKK, how many kids did you kill today? CPD, KKK, how many kids have you killed today? CPD, KKK, genocide. CPD, KKK, we charge you with genocide. Cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. You can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. You can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Racist cops, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. I believe that we will win. Our community, our control. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Our control, our community, our community, our community, our community, our control, our community, our control, our community, their control, our community, our control, our community, their control, our community, our 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 control. 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 Our community, our community. Our community, our community. Our community, our community. Our community, our community. I believe that we will win. 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 All right, folks. Shut it. They serve the voices. What do you protect? They serve the rich. What do you protect? They serve the bosses. They serve the rich. Who do you protect? They serve the bosses. They serve the rich. They serve the bosses. They serve the rich. We're gonna get loud. We're gonna get loud. Get loud. I believe. I believe. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that we. I believe that we. I believe that we will. I believe that we will. I believe that we will win. 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 The workers united will never be that we will win. The I believe that we will win. United will always be winners. The workers united will always all right, folks, what do we want? CPAC! What do we want? CPAC! Let's act like it. What do we want? CPAC! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? CPAC! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? CPAC! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it! If we don't get it! Shut it down! 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 All right, go! Hey, shut it down! If we don't get it! Then these little cops to jail! The whole damn system is guilty as hell! Inside! The next send those little cops to jail! The whole damn system is guilty!
goes on. How much? 60. Does it work well? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, good. What's it connected to? Just your headphone jack. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, real easy. Oh!
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No racism.
sleep, tomorrow's fake. Today's fake, tomorrow's fake. Today's fake, tomorrow's fake.
Today's big, tomorrow's fake. Today's big, tomorrow's fake. Today's big, tomorrow's fake. Today's big, tomorrow's fake. Today's big, tomorrow's fake.
So again, new viewers, we are here in Chicago. Thanks for joining me here. Happy to be back in my hometown for a couple days. On this Black Friday, protesters have protested the last 3 years in a row ever since Laquan McDonald was shot and killed and that video came out. So using Black Friday as a rallying point, because we know, as we can see today, police protect profits over people. To show up in this much force, protesters corralled on all sides by hundreds of police today. At least as many police as protesters, if not more police. And there's a couple hundred protesters here. Protesters fighting for a CPAC, a civilian-led police accountability council. So that way citizens of Chicago and other cities have been trying this too, can actually hold police accountable, because obviously we know when police themselves, not one officer has been indicted of murder here in Chicago in its history. And the Laquan McDonald case, it was such an atrocious case. When the video finally came out, it showed the kid had no weapon. He was shot in the back, shot 16 times. Officers actually went over to a fast food restaurant to try to erase the CCTV footage. The funny thing is they got recorded in the office deleting the footage, or attempting to delete the footage. So they actually got caught by not being able to delete it, actually getting videotaped themselves doing it in the same CCTV. 9 officers were included in that cover-up. None of those officers that just came out, by grand jury, none of those officers are facing any charges for the cover-up, which is proven. It's not even, did they? It's they did. What should be done about it? And the answer is nothing. And that's what happens with police themselves. That's why protesters are asking for the civilian-led police accountability council. And one with teeth, not, there's certain cities, like in St. Louis, the civilian police board, there's no real power that they have to actually, they don't sit down at the table and determine punishments for officers or if they should be punished. It's basically for show. It's a way to keep record, at least. It's not completely futile, but protesters here want an actual accountability board where elected citizens can be on the committee to determine if an officer should be indicted and what for, to try to prevent Laquans and Recrea Boyd's from happening again, because it happens all the time in Chicago and around the country.
Every language. The Chicago Alliance Against Race and Political Repression has a meeting. I need to see your faces and your asses in the house.
All right, Jeff, don't be insulted.
I need to see you in the house.
Don't be insulted.
Right now.
And if you guys enjoy my broadcasts in St. Louis, Standing Rock, and around the country, now's the time to donate. Even $5, $10 is huge right now. That'll keep me fed. $20 put gas in my tank to get to where I need to go next. It's all very helpful. Bigger donations than that help me pay for my data bills that are piling up from St. Louis coverage. So please check out RebZ.tv/donate. There's multiple ways to donate. One-time donations. You don't need a PayPal account to do it. You could do a recurring monthly payment, $1, $3, $5. Become a monthly contributor to keep me sustainable. Bitcoin. There's also my Bitcoin wallet on there. You can keep my web designer happy by donating. If you got some spare Bitcoin, we can give him to keep upgrading the website, RebZ.tv. And I broadcast live on 5 channels. I don't have ads on my website or my streams when it's under my control. I don't get any ad revenue whatsoever. I'm funded by you completely. So if you enjoy my broadcast and you want to keep me going in the future, now's the time to donate. It's possible I'm going to have to head back to a home base in Pennsylvania in a couple days here when I'm done in Chicago. take care of some things. I thought I was going to be in St. Louis for 3 weeks. I've been there 3 months, so I don't even have my winter gear. I've got to get some things fixed with my car and such, so I might be heading back there just a couple days. And then obviously I'm going to need money to travel either back to St. Louis or where I need to go next, which could even be in Pennsylvania with the Lancaster Stand Pipeline or the Mariner Project, also in Pennsylvania, on the west side of Pennsylvania. I may also need to travel up to Minnesota or Nebraska with the Keystone XL and the Enbridge Line 3 pipelines going on. There's a lot of things I may need to cover, but I'm going to have to be ready to jump and cover those when I need to be. So I need your support to be able to continue doing what I'm doing and to be ready to go when those things happen. I appreciate everybody who's supported me so far while I've been in St. Louis, and throughout the years I couldn't have been able to keep going without you guys. Protesters on the move yet again.
Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Show me what Chicago looks like. This is what Chicago looks like. Make some noise, everybody! This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. Hey, ho, ho! These killer cops have got to go. How many kids did we kill today? CPD, KKK. How many kids did we kill today? CPD, KKK. How many kids have we killed today? CPD, KKK. How many kids have we killed today? CPD, KKK. How many kids have we killed today? CPD, KKK. How many kids have we killed today? CPD, KKK. How many kids have we killed today? Cops in the clan go hand in hand. 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 Our streets, 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 our streets. Our streets.
So we're arriving at the old water tower. This is where protesters first met up. If you didn't catch the first part of the stream a couple hours ago now, the rally was held right here. Speakers were here for a good hour or so. And then protesters headed out, marched around for the last couple of hours, and planted themselves a few hundred deep in front of some of the Magnificent Mile stores, in front of the Mag Mile stores, Michigan Avenue here. One of the most well-protected shopping streets in the country. You can see how much force they brought out for this. If we were protesting on the south side, I guarantee you there'd be a couple dozen cops, maybe. So again, you're hearing the chant 16 shots in a cover-up. They're referring to Laquan McDonald, shot 16 times. Police claimed he had a knife, and yet he was shot in the back. Turns out he did not have a knife. As the video that finally came out showed, and here's the thing about that video. Cops tried to erase that video. They actually got captured on CCTV in a fast food restaurant trying to delete the outside footage of the Laquan shooting, the angle from inside that building. So obviously they got caught on that camera doing it. They were unsuccessful. So you can only imagine how many times police do such a thing. If they felt so comfortable that they were going to be able to get away with that, that wasn't the first time. That was learned behavior. When they were fresh out of the academy, they saw other seasoned officers doing that, and similar things like that. And that's what we're talking about. The culture of police needs to be changed. And the 9 officers who were basically shown to have taken part in that cover-up, the grand jury just came back. No charges against any of these officers where we have video evidence of them trying to delete and cover up evidence. Rahm Emanuel even knew about this video and hid it. McCarthy, the old superintendent of Chicago Police, has said on record that Rahm Emanuel had that video and kept it hush-hush with all the power he could until after election. And of course he was elected again. I'm sure had citizens known he was trying to cover up a police killing, he might not have won that election. So protesters are asking for, demanding a CPAC, a civilian-led police accountability committee. One with actual power that can actually hold police accountable for what they do. The problem is we see around the country when the state polices the state, it always comes up innocent. Even when they put charges against officers, they always manage, the prosecutors never go full force. Or the DAs, when they bring it to grand jury, grand jury is a joke because they're all run by the DA. I mean, if they don't want something to get charges, the grand jury is not going to bring up charges. So that's why citizens here in Chicago are asking for the CPAC to actually have elected civilians on a board to determine whether or not police have done wrong, and not let the police determine whether police have done wrong.
You're here. Now, I'm gonna say just how stout your heart really is. I'm gonna have some people come through the crowd, those buckets over there, and take up some donations, because everything that you see here we had to pay for.
Okay, folks, it looks like the rally is about over again. If you look at the bottom of the screen, if you go to RebZ.tv/donate, there's multiple ways to keep me streaming. If you've enjoyed my coverage of St. Louis and here in Chicago, if you've enjoyed my Standing Rock coverage and you want to keep me going, Charlottesville, don't forget about that. If you want to keep me going, donate to me today. I'm going to need it right now to get to where I need to be. I've got to take care of some things back home in PA for a couple weeks, and then hopefully be right back on the road. Where? I don't know. That's determined by you guys. That's determined by what I'm feeling and where I feel that I need to be. It could be, I might have to turn around and go right back to St. Louis. I might stay in PA. There's some pipeline battles going on there in Lancaster and also in the east of Pennsylvania with the Mariner Project. And there's also the Enbridge Project that's being contested up in Minnesota. And now with the Key XL being approved and spilling in Nebraska, or being approved in Nebraska. And the spill in South Dakota from the same pipeline. There's a lot of things that I'm going to need to cover here coming up, so I'm going to need your help to do it. Become a monthly contributor on RebZ.tv/donate for as little as $1 a month. Obviously, more is going to help, but $1 a month, you're going to barely notice it, and if enough of you do it, it's going to add up, and it's definitely going to help. And the one-time donations are very helpful in times like right now, where I'm traveling and in between things to cover.
You can help us build more.
I keep my 5 live streams ad-free, except for Ustream, that's out of my control, or when YouTube wants to be jerks. But I get no money. I don't monetize my channels whatsoever. I try to keep the experience as user-friendly as possible. My website has no ads to keep it a user-free or a user-friendly experience. It's all about you guys. It's all about disseminating that information as easily as possible without clouding it up with what your computer thinks you should buy. So if you appreciate my coverage, please donate today.
Leaving it up to me, I'm going to do my favorite one. The one that we're fighting for in the city council right now. When I say CPAC, you say fight back. CPAC, 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 CPAC. And if we don't get it, 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 shut it the fuck down.
All right, I'm going to take the live stream down now, guys. Appreciate you joining me here in Chicago. Nice to be back in my hometown for this Black Friday Day of Resistance.
First of all,
hundreds of protesters marching up and down the Magnificent Mile, Michigan Avenue, on the busiest shopping day of the year for Michigan Avenue. And you saw the police response. Hundreds of police flanking protesters on both sides. Protesters were peaceful. They weren't even planning on going any stores or anything like that. And you see the response. I mean, police, like protesters were saying earlier, care about profits over people. When someone's shot on the south side, the police response is late, and then they end up harassing the innocent citizens when they are in force on the south side. See here, Magnificent Mile, all the police are out to protect the businesses from peaceful protesters.
And rally for reparations.
So again, protesters asking for CPAC, look into that, civilian-led police accountability committee with power that can actually, with elected civilians on it, that can actually hold police accountable and determine when police need to be held accountable, instead of putting policing the police in the hands of the state, which we see the results of that around the country, like in St. Louis, where I just was covering the Jason Stockley protests. Even when we have clear evidence of first-degree murder and malicious intent and revenge intent and unprofessionalism from police officers caught on camera, like in St. Louis with Jason Stockley, like in Chicago with the Laquan McDonald, where police on camera trying to cover up their own evidence by deleting footage and then having no charges for trying to initiate a cover-up. And then we find out even the mayor knew about it. And of course, how can you hold the mayor accountable except for elections then? That's why he held that tape back until after the election. So I hope some of my viewers are getting some more information, new information about Chicago. I've been in St. Louis for a while. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming again. I'm only in Chicago for the next couple of days. If there's something to stream, I'll definitely be there, but probably not. And then I'm heading back east. And I kind of, I don't have definitive plans. I just know I got to take care of some things back in PA. And if anything pops up along the way or while I'm there or on my way back, I will make sure I can get in there and cover that for you as well. So obviously, tips are very helpful. So between Illinois and PA, if you know of anything that needs covering, just go to RebZ.tv. You see that at the bottom of the screen, RebZ.tv. Hit the contact link at the top, and that email will come right to me, and I will see that. And so you guys can keep me abreast of anything that I need to know. I rely on you guys' help. I want to thank all my mods on Facebook and YouTube for their hard work. Volunteers, very dedicated people. I appreciate everything you do. If you got a problem with any of them, so what? They're volunteers, and they try to keep the flow of information flowing in the chat without completely banning everybody, but still make it readable for people when they go to visit the chat. So on that note, from Chicago, everyone, I appreciate you guys watching. This is RebZ signing off for today. I will see you guys hopefully very soon. Thank you guys. Good day.